Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Terry. Welcome to another edition of An Orchid a Day. And it's Monday, the start of a new week. Now today, well, first of all, before I start, why don't you go ahead and click on the like button. You're already here, might as well. So today, I was thinking I was going to talk about my collection of Pescatorias, and I still plan to do that. But I was starting to think that maybe I've talked about them before, so this might be an update for some, maybe for others it might be redundant, but I'm going to still talk about my Pescatorias, which I have always wanted, but didn't really attempt to get until this year. I got two of these this spring summer from Colombia Orchid Imports, and I potted them up in sphagnum. These Pescatorias are terrestrial orchids. They like it very wet. Some of them can grow from the coast up into the rainforests, but they still like it to be cold, still like it to be fairly warm. They do grow high up in the canopies of the trees, sort of in the axils where the moss collects, so their roots are always moist. They like dappled sun, a little bit less water in the wintertime, but they still do not like to dry out. I have three of them. I have two actually that are straight Pescatorias, and then I have one hybrid, which is right here, which I just got. This is my Kiefersteinia tolamalense crossed with Bolea ecuadorense. Bolea is a pseudonym. Well, it's a separate species than Pescatoria, but they are grown very similarly, and they look similar to each other as far as their growth habit. The growth comes up as like a series of fans that fan out, the new leaves emerging from the top of the fan, with sheaths on the side, which is where the new growths, or not the new growths, the new growths come from inside the first fan right here, the first leaf, and this is where a inflorescence would also come out of. As you can see, there's one, a spent one, that is coming from inside this leaf. Again, well, this one specifically, both of these plants, Ecuadorensis can bloom or does grow in more hot, humid conditions, but it also can grow in cooler conditions as well, whereas the Kiefersteinia is mostly a cooler growing plant. So the hybrid makes it a little bit easier to grow the cooler growing plants. But there again, Kiefersteinia is still in that same family of plants. It grows kind of like Chondrorinca, Boleas. There's another one that I can't think of, but Chondrorinca I think is one of the main ones. Chondrorinca amazonica is a very popular plant. But as far as Pescatorias, I have this one, which is lehmannii. Now, both of these species are from Ecuador and Colombia. As I said, they grow on the axils of the branches high up in the canopies of the trees. So they do like it with dappled sunlight, a little bit less than dappled, but they can stand a higher light than Phalaenopsis. But they do still like some shade. And then the other one that I have is Pescatoria cerina, which is a white flowered Pescatoria. Lehmannii is more of a purple mauve colored, might have some stripes in the lip. The lip is white, whereas the lip on cerina is yellow. But yeah, both of these are growing pretty well for me. The roots have gone into the media, and they have plentiful new growths that are coming up. And the existing growths that were on the plant when I got it are still growing. So that is very good. One of the things on Pescatorias that you have to kind of watch out for is fungus, because they are getting a lot of water. And so you kind of have to make sure that the leaves are dry. Good air movement will prevent some of that, but it is something that you have to pay attention to. And also, you have to pay attention to making sure that the media, the water runs straight through the media rather than being stagnant in the pot. Because the roots, as I've said so many times, the roots do not like to be sitting in damp moisture. They will rot, and then that will cause the plant to overall just decline. And when you see these leaf axils down here browning up and turning black, that's when you know that you've got a problem. They are very susceptible to salt buildup. So they still need a little bit of fertilizer in the wintertime, but it's very minimal. As the water is very minimal, but it's enough to keep the media from drying up. They don't want to be bone dry, but they want to dry in between, a little bit more drying in between in the wintertime. But in the summer, in the heat of the summer especially, they may need to be watered a couple times a day depending on the heat. And that's just how I do it. I always try to maintain the humidity to be about 75 to 80% if I can. The wintertime it dips a little bit lower than that, but they prefer it to be higher. So yeah, those are my plants that I was just wanting to talk about. Sorry if I was being redundant in this, but I am hoping soon to be showing some flowers, as these can bloom anytime. Mostly they bloom, I believe they bloom from fall into spring. I think that's their primary time of bloom. I am noticing some wrinkling in the leaves on that one, so I might have to give them a little bit more water. But yeah, so far so good on that. And again, thanks for watching, everyone, and hopefully you're having a good Monday, and enjoy your orchids. Bye.